Hi everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of Field Sketching Birds with Poo Wright-Pulliam, a COVID-19 stay-at-home production for Golden Eagle Audubon. Here is a photo of me doing some field sketching. Today's class is about, we're going to be in the field in my studio though, because we can't go outside, right? We're not supposed to go outside unless we just stay in our own neighborhood, which I have a great neighborhood that I'm in. Anyway, this is me field sketching down in the Howard Preserve in September of 2006. These photos are taken by my friend Kathleen Cameron, and I was down there doing a little field work of the wildflowers down there. That could be another class. So anyway, there's me, Poo Wright-Pulliam, and let's get started. First of all, I want to show you, this is the book that started it all. Right here, Birds of North America, a golden guide. This is all my notes in the front, how all of the birds, I checked them off as I went, all of my friends that I birded with. And this was from Patty Provencha, my really good friend. She's the one that introduced me to birding. So this is the book that she gave me, and she said you get to write all over in it. So I have writings all over where I've seen the birds, what date it was, and it's a great reference. The only thing about this book is that it is older, so it doesn't show all the splits of the birds, and it doesn't necessarily show all the birds that we might have here in the high altitude of the Wood River Valley. You in Boise would have a lot of these. So that's my first one. Then I started getting many more. Here's one, Stokes Field Guide to Birds. This one's kind of cool. I'll flip this open. See, this is photographs. A lot of them originally were drawings. Photographs may not show all the field marks that you need, but there you go, lots of photos. This is probably my second one here. This one is a National Audubon Society book. And the only problem that I find with this one is that often the females are different colors than the males, and so the females might be in the brown section or in a whole nother section. So it's good for beginners because it goes by color, which helps to look it up if you see something in the field. But again, all the writing about the bird is in the back, so it just makes it a little harder to, like this one, if you were looking for the female of any of these, they would be back in the either greenish yellow or the brown section. So that makes it a little harder on that one. A fabulous book nonetheless. Here's the 6th edition of National Geographic. This is probably one of the original one that I got is probably the one I learned with the most between this and the Golden Guide. And this has wonderful paintings in it and wonderful stories and the maps that give you an idea of where everything should be seen, whether or not it might be rare in the area or you might not see it in your area. So that's the National Geographic. Here's another field guide to Western birds. This is an old one. This one, I think I got this from my friend Dave. That looks like his writing. So that's a pretty old one there. Well used, as our bird books usually get. Here's the Peterson's Guide. There's small ones of this as well. So this is the big one of North America. But this has wonderful paintings, the maps on the same page, a little blurb about the bird to help you identify it. So any of these kind can be good. And I have so many because I do like to cross-reference. Each book might have a little bit different information in it. Here is a Kaufman Guide. Nice thing about the Kaufman Guide is that he figured out how to do photographs and also alter them digitally to show all those field marks that the painted ones show. So this is a really good cross-reference as well. Wonderful, wonderful books. All in taxonomic order, which has changed a little these days. Things aren't where they used to be. And here's my good old Sibley Guide. I probably work more from this book than any of the other books. This one has paintings, has the map, has the blurb, and it has lots of comparisons in it too. I like the comparisons. It has them in flight, which is always nice. And it has these wonderful pages in the beginning, so you can kind of look at what you're looking for. And you can also, when you're doing field notes, If you were to look at this one, you would see like the pink flamingo has the same body type as the white ibis and the roseate spoonbill, but look at the difference in the legs, way different. And if this was a crane with the S, or an egret with the S-shaped neck, the beak would be totally different. The legs would still be long, and of course the color would help you see the difference here in the head shape and the beak. So this book has lots of good reference information in it as well. So here is my props. Here's my Write in the Rain pen. This is one of my Write in the Rain notebooks. And so this pen writes in this notebook. Oh, I better show you the front here. Here's the Birder's Journal Write in the Rain notebook. So it has a measuring tape here on the front inside cover. It has the bird's anatomy, real quick anatomy lessons here. It also on the back page has the Code of Birding Ethics, which is very good for everybody to read. Everybody should read that and study it and heed that. So here, for instance, on the back page, this is a full notebook. And this I did at the Peregrine Fund of the, the California condor. The big, beautiful bald head, because they eat meat. They need their head to be clean, so they don't have any feathers on it. Here's one of a flicker from a bird count that I was doing, a raptor watch. And this flicker came in and was eating these big, rotten crab apples hanging on this tree. And the colors were so beautiful. They matched the red-shafted flicker in such a lovely way. And here, this is fun. I wanted to show you this one because this is what I do every January 1st. And I do know all the banding codes, so these might be confusing to some of you. But once you know how to do a banding code, then these become really easy. But it's really quick to write lists. So here's what I do. The first bird that I saw, and this is from 2020, was a black-billed magpie. The second was a flicker. The third was a brown creeper. The fourth was a white-breasted nuthatch, which is a little uncommon here, so that was really cool. And he was running down the side of the trunk. Fifth was a black-capped chickadee. Sixth was the American widgeon. The seventh was a ringneck duck. And as you can see here, I'm going to zoom in a little here. You can see here where I did the beak wrong. That's okay to do anything wrong. Then you just write some notes right there. There should have been a couple rings there. So that's quite all right to do it like that. Number 8 was a green-winged teal. Number 9 was a Barrow's goldeneye. And I accidentally did the chest dark when the chest should be white. So I made those notes. And here's the American Dipper, number 11. Oh, I forgot the mallard, number 10, with his big yellow beak and his green wonderful head and his white stripe below the green and his cinnamon chest. And then the Dipper sitting on a rock on some snow. So I do that every year, and I have these wonderful pages. This is like a wonderful diary. I just love having these notebooks. Here's a little more of what we're going to do today. So you can see that I've done all of these little shapes. Look at these, a little bit different. Look at a little different bill. This one's dark, this one's light. Little short legs on this one. Here's some egrets, a snowy egret, a great egret, another great egret. Here's a great blue heron, so the color's different. A western grebe and a Clark's grebe, so the head would be a little different closer up. But this is how quickly you can sketch them. These are probably little, maybe 5-second sketches of each little bird, just to get a note of all the different birds that were in this pond. It was really fun. So your drawings can be this simple as long as you have the right field marks that will help you ID them. And hopefully by the end of this class, you will know all of that. So that is one of my older field notebooks. And here's some of my tools. When I'm drawing in pencil, I have this great eraser. Make sure your eraser is new too, because when they get old, they get hard and then they just wreck the paper. Oh, and another thing about the Write in the Rain notebook, here's my newer one. Another thing about that is that when you're drawing with the ink pen, you can't erase. So a notepad like this is newspaper. I can take this out in the field. You don't need it to be this big. It can be a lot smaller. And the eraser is really good for that. Here's a pencil with that same type of eraser on it, so that one works really good. Here is a regular pencil. This is a 4H, so that's hard. So this is good for doing your basic drawing. The lead is hard, so it doesn't leave so much lead on the paper. So it makes for an easy, quick drawing, and then you go in a little bit later and you can darken it. Here's another click pen pencil that has the good eraser on it. This one is a 4B. I don't know if, do I have it? Oh, this is a 6B. Have it upside down. So this one is a soft lead, so it makes a darker line. So you don't want to start your drawing with this one because you'll have to erase a lot. It is okay if you erase, but you don't want to erase that much. Here again is my Write in the Rain pen, specifically for this. I can stand out in the rain, which I have done, and draw away. Still get everything done. Here's this one's the 4B. That was a 6B on the other one. So this one's not as dark as the 6B, but this one will do for a little heavier drawing. So there's those. Here is my field guide kit. Canvas. Everything fits in there. Usually I would put this inside here. It goes nicely inside there like that, and I can flip through and have all my pencils and everything right there. A lot of times I'll just take this notebook and just do a sketch and then come home and maybe put the colors in later. And if I do that, then I would write the colors next to the bird that it might be. This would be a light brown. This would say red eye ring, black stripes on the or collars, and the color of the legs. I could put the color of the legs, some nice colored leaves here from fall. Look at this yellow tail tip, very notable. And so you can just do it like that if you're in the field. You can also just write it. You don't have to draw it. You can just write all the notes down and hopefully get the proper field marks so that when you go back to your book, which should be after your sketch, when you go back to your book, then you can hopefully have the right field notes to be able to draw the bird. So I put lots of notes on this side. That's another thing that's so nice about Write in the Rain. One page to do your drawings, one page to do your notes. So that's a lot of fun. These are some of the drawings I'll show you real quick from the Audubon's challenge that's going on right now, the Art Mindfulness Challenge that they're doing. So here's what I've been doing, two a day, or 2 days on one page. So these are the fun birds that I've been seeing while out in the field. See, this is a quicker sketch. Just a few seconds to get the basic shape of the bird. This one's the female because there's no red mustache, and there's a red mustache here. So that's still, even though how big is that drawing, enough information so that I know that it's a pileated woodpecker. There's a kestrel, little boxy form with a little boxy head on it. Silhouettes have a lot to do with field sketching. Here's a robin, a little bit longer legs than what this is a thrush also. These are both thrushes. This is a Townsend solitaire. He kind of sits low on the branch, and he comes almost every day to my water bath in my feeder. I have a water bath up in the feeder, so it's kind of fun. But see, he's got a little longer legs than a little sparrow would. And his posture is more upright on these guys. So we'll be talking about posture. This day I couldn't find any birds, even though we went for a walk. Nothing was in view to really see. It was a cold day. And when we got home, it was almost dark, and this bat flew by. So how fun was that to get to draw the bat? Even though it's probably not truly anatomically correct, I was still able to get, you know that that's a bat, definitely. It's not a long-eared because it would have big ears like that, and I didn't see any big ears on that bat as it flew by. And then here's a mountain bluebird sitting a little bit lower. This is also a thrush. And here's a magpie with longer legs, very long tail, and a little more upright than the mountain bluebird. All good stuff to keep in mind. I hope the last class helped you with a little bit of bird ID or bird anatomy on that. Here's our Eurasian collared doves that not everybody loves, but they're a bird too, and they have definitely taken over our area. The mourning doves aren't as common as they used to be, but I did see two yesterday, I think it was, or the day before. I saw two, so they're back. These guys never leave. The mourning doves have just come back. And here's one where I couldn't get anything in close again, but this mallard pair was swimming down in the river where I walk to every day. And here's a rock outcropping that created these rapids. This is where the dippers usually hang out, is right here. But instead, this day, I had the mallards. And if you come in close on this one, can you still see it? You can see the little green head there and the cinnamon chest and the orange legs. You can't tell that much, but he's standing on a rock. And here's the little female, she's brown. So not a whole lot of detail, but nonetheless, you know what kind of species it is, and that's what this class is all about. So there's the Birder's Journal, Ride in the Rain Birder's Journal, and my notepad with my colored pencils. I like to use Barralls Prismacolor. So there's that. All right, so today what we're going to do here is we're going to do some quick sketching here. You can also put different leads in these, the 4Bs, the 4Hs. You can change your leads in these, so, and you can get those different. Here's what the container looks like. It has a bunch of leads in it, so you can change those out or buy several of them and put different leads in each one. I have a set, actually, that they're all different colors, and I know which lead is in which color of pencil. So there's that. So the thing I was talking about in the first part of this class was about triple committing. So the first thing that you see is the bird. So you see the bird with your naked eye. You pick up the general shape and the posture of the bird. So let's say we had the robin. It's a little more upright, a little more shaped like this. We put the head on here, another circle. I used to teach the class where I did a real standard, an O, and a backwards D, because we're doing it this way because I'm a lefty. Another D for the wing, and a triangle for the tail. There's the undertail coverts, and then you could just kind of hook it together like this. So this is real basic. Robin has a little bit bigger bill, comes back into the face like that. But we don't have to be that technical. And the eye is usually just above the beak. So with this, we could come around, make it a little wider because the robin's head is a little bigger. We know that its chest is red, and by looking at it, we may not see this underneath, but we have the standard shape of the bird. That's how I used to do it, and this is a simple way if you'd like to do it that way too, with O's and D's and triangles, and here's a leg coming off, and here's a foot. So today, though, we're going to learn to do some ovals. Here's the basic line of posture, the body, the head, and the tail. So here's the wing. A lot of this is going to be side views because that's where you can see most of the field marks, and that's the easiest way to get to know them. So here we go again. We're going to cover this, the back of the neck. We're going to put the little yellow beak on. Their actually beak is pretty big. Here's the eye just above the mouth line here. Here's the throat. Okay. Here's a leg, because they stand a little bit taller. So there's your basic outline of the bird. You've seen the bird with your naked eye. Then you put your binoculars or your scope on the bird, and you start to see a little more of what might be in view. The first time I looked at a robin in binoculars, I thought I had a new species because I had no idea. I'd seen robins all my life growing up, and I just remembered their dark back and wings and tail, and their red breast, their dark head, but their red breast mostly. When I looked through binoculars, I saw these beautiful stripes here under the chin, and they were black and white. The head was dark, and here was this partial eye ring that went like this. Can you see that well enough? Okay, the other leg would be coming down here. They have a little bit of a white tip out here on their tail. And here's their dark wing. Their primary feathers. We talked about the primary feathers and the secondaries. Here's the secondaries. Here's the if a wing bar's there, right there, and the other wing bar would be up here. That's the tips to the upper coverts, and the tips to the, this is the tips to the upper coverts here. So they're basically, now if I was to color this in, so you've seen the bird, you look at the bird, you get all of these wonderful field marks, and let's use this one. You see the bird, you look, oops, wrong one. You look at the bird, and then you draw the bird as the third commit. See, look, draw. So here we go. Now we can put this in a little darker so you can see what we're looking at. Tertials come down here. These are all kind of technicalities though. When you're first sketching the bird, you just want to get these, the basics in. So let's do the breast. They have white undertail coverts. So I'm just going to do that. And then we have the darker rest of the body. Feathers are designed for strength, so the darker the feather is, the more strength it has. That's why the primary feathers are usually black. But this guy is not quite black on the back, not quite black on the head, more of a charcoal. And see, if you draw in the direction of the feathers, the way the feathers are going to go, then it'll make it look even better, help understand even more. There's the coverts, there's the secondaries, there's the primaries. Oh, we need a yellow for the beak. And I think he has a little bit of a black tip. And a dark eye. Sometimes getting up close, they might have a brown eye or a different color. So there we go. You would know that that is a robin. I think the legs on a robin. Ooh, what color are the legs? I can't remember the color of the legs. So it can be this simple and fast, but you would be able to then go to your book and identify this bird. So you saw the bird, you picked up the shape and the posture of the bird. You looked at it with your binoculars and you picked up some of these details. Try and get as many details as you can, usually starting with the beak. Look at the eye, look at any eye stripes or anything like that. And then you're going to put in you're going to start drawing it, and as you draw it, that's when you commit it that third time. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. I need to draw that, I need to draw that, I need to draw that. So it's all about triple committing the bird and getting as much information as you can at one time. So here we're going to look at, if I had a warbler, so we're going to talk about posture again a little bit. If I had a warbler, the shape might be like this with the little head sitting right here. The robin, of course, is going to be a little more upright like this. The warbler's leg's going to be like this. The robin's is going to be like this. So there we have a difference already there. Little tiny beak on the warbler. The bigger beak on the robin. With the eye rings, we'll do those real quick. And let's say this is a yellow warbler. Here's a little tail. Here's the tail on this one. Wing length can have a lot to do with it as well. Robins might be about like that, maybe a little bit shorter. And the little warbler is going to be about right to there. I'm drawing with a harder or a softer pencil so that you can see more what I'm doing in the video. So you can see in the posture alone, we have two different birds. If we had, say for instance, let's go to another page. So we have a big-bodied bird like this. We're going to put two on here, two big-bodied birds. Okay, then we're going to do an S on this one. And we're going to do a shorter S on this one. Okay, we're going to have that little tail that comes down like this here, tail that kind of comes out like that there. Can you guess what I'm doing already? So this one, a little bit of a circle. Around her face. Okay, now they look pretty much the same. I'm going to put a big straight beak, and a lot of times I will measure the beak. Okay, here's how wide the head is. Let me do it this way. Here's how wide the head is. Here's how long the beak is. So this one's beak is as long as its head is wide. This one's beak is going to be about maybe 2/3. So I'm going to go like this. See the difference in shape right there. See the difference in shape. So far we kind of have the same looking bird, except now we have a long beak, dagger-shaped beak, and a duck beak, or a duck-shaped beak. Then we're going to do, watch this, some thick little legs here, like this. Little short back toe. Little short legs. And what do we think we have here? Here, we're going to put long legs. No webbed feet. Okay. Little knobby knee. It's actually not the knee, it's the heel. So speaking of that, okay, so here we have, we'll do this, boop, 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 boop. There's a wing, there's a wing. Okay, so we have basically the same body types. Ooh, and I left the head off. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's the head. So sorry about that. So here's the long beak. Here's the duck-like beak. So we have the same body shape, almost the same neck. Same neck. And then we have short little legs versus long legs. So here we have a heron, and here we have a Canada goose, or one of the ducks. So it really makes a big difference on the length of the feet and legs. And by the way, while we're on the legs, so this is like the bottom of our foot, the toes, with one going backwards on most birds. Here's the bottom of the foot, toe going backwards, 3 going forwards. Here's the bottom of the foot. Here is the shin. And here is the thigh going into the rest of the body of the bird. Here's ribs. Let's do some ribs. Okay, so foot, shin, up into here, thigh. So we don't always see the thigh. This is what confuses so many people, and this is why we think that their knees go backwards, when in fact their knee is right here, and this is their heel, the bottom of their foot. So they stand on their tippy toes. Does that make sense? They stand on their tippy toes. Okay? So in this next drawing, see how quickly those were done too, with circles and S's and V's and fun shapes like that. We were able to get pretty much what we needed. And now we're going to get into some field marks. I've done some sketches prior for you to look at. So here again we have the great blue heron. And we're going to start off with the angle of the body. And you need to make sure you have enough up here, space up here, and enough space down here. So we drew the angle of the body, and we kind of do the angle of the head. It can be very loose, angle of the body. These guys have this big shoulder. So it's shaped like this, kind of an oval, like a sunflower seed. Kind of looks like a sunflower seed. Okay? Then we have here the thigh. I'm sorry, not the thigh, the shin, the knee, and the foot. We're just going to do this real quick. And here, up here, let's do this a little harder. And the beak, again, is, you can do it this way too. This is probably a lot easier. So I'm marking the end of the head, and my fingernail is where the front of the head is. That's how wide the head is. We already know that the beak is about as wide, so we go out here, and here's how far out the beak is going to go. So a lot of comparison. We know that this comes up and around the eye. So there's the eye inside. This comes straight back and curves like this. So we already have a heron. See how quickly that was. So it's all in shapes and looking at lengths. And then remembering what the anatomy of the bird is. So here's some feathers. Here's some tail feathers, kind of come down like this. Here's some scapulars. We talked about scapulars, I think. That's the scapulars. And here's some cinnamon color. Here's a little more cinnamon just down here on the side. The tops of the legs where we can see them. Again, this is the shin, are red. And the beak is yellow. Yellow up into the eye. And a darker tip. Okay, let's do the center of the eye. We get to do yellow around the eye. They have this great yellow around the eye. And it's mating season now, so they have these feathers that come off. Whoop, like this. Some nice curves. And they also have these feathers. They don't have these all year. This is a little bit of their mating stuff. They have this pretty little check mark. So now we're looking with our binoculars again, and we're committing it to paper. They have these little check marks down the front of the neck here. And I'm going to do the head. Because I'm using this darker lead, these are going to kind of blend a little more than I'd like them to. But we can use several different colors to get this in. Again, going the same way as the feathers. The legs are gray. A little funny knee. Back toe. So we don't have to be perfect on anything. Another toe there, another toe there. All right. And he's kind of a blue-gray, so let's find, this might be a little bit too blue. So we're going to put it in anyway. We're going to go like this. Again, going the way the feathers are going. And then we're going to take our gray, and we can kind of go over that. You could also do it with your lead pencil. And do it a little darker up here so that it gives it a little depth. A little darker down here where it might be in the shadow. And then we're going to take this one And you can see right here that it's a little darker or black right in there. Kind of gives it a little detail. Okay, what am I missing? So we can take this and kind of outline these feathers a little bit. And anything that I'm missing. I think that's good. So we got this. And when you go back to your book, you would certainly know that that's a great blue heron versus if it was the same shape, the same legs, and if it was an egret, a great egret. This comes up around, but on the egret, put the eye in. I know that during mating season, around their eye gets lime green. This is a little turquoise, not quite lime, so we're going to take and put the yellow. Put a little yellow on there. So if you saw the lime green around the eye when you were looking with your binoculars, you would definitely know the difference between this one and this one. And this is all white. So that would make a big difference as well. Okay, so next we're going to do a couple of warblers. So they have a little more even posture, flat posture. And you could start with a branch. Oh, that one's too soft. And I just do my branches really fast like this. And then you want to do this little circle. Again, you would have the D here, depending on how long the wings are, like this. Here's the head, a little circle for the head. And again, I would be doing this with a lighter pencil so that you wouldn't see these circles so much, but for the benefit of doing the sketching, we're going to do the darker pencil so you can see the lines. Okay, so tail is going to come out like this. And they have the undertail coverts, so it kind of circles around there, and then the undertail coverts, that goes up in there. Bring the neck down, the back of the head down, and a little tiny, look at this little tiny beak, little straight beak, little tiny thing. Compared to the size of the head, you could get probably 3 in there. Again, off of the line of the eye, or the beak, here's where the eye is. And then we've got a foot coming down here, a toe, a toe, a toe. Black legs. Here's another foot coming down with the toe, toe, toe. And here's, let's see, we're going to do, so we can do this whole guy yellow pretty much. Add some light yellow in there because he's a pretty yellow bird. Both of these birds are pretty yellow. Both of these birds are pretty common. Undertail coverts are yellow. Some of the warblers, the undertail coverts are white, so pay attention to that too. Okay, we have the basics, and we're going to add a little bit of this for the olive. Use a little bit of olive. You might have an olive pen or pencil that you're working with. Here's the wing. Draw some lines like that. Here's the primaries, secondaries, coverts. Primaries, secondaries, coverts. Tail. Okay, so one of the good things about the yellow warbler is the male has these great little red stripes on its belly. So I just do some jiggly lines like that. Okay, so there's a yellow warbler. You could add some color to the branch if you want to. You could add some more yellow. Need to make it a little bit yellow under his chin. And the harder you press on your pencil, see how that's kind of blending that in? That's pressure is always good when you're trying to blend things a little bit more. So there's a quick little yellow warbler. Enough information to say warbler with the beak size. The posture is sitting on the branch more horizontal than upright. The tail is dark. And now we're going to do this little Wilson's warbler. Got the branch going here. Quickly, quickly. Now, he's a little more horizontal, isn't he? So we're going to do this line like this. He's a little more horizontal. There's his tail sticking out back there. Here's the D for his wing. Not very long on the warblers. Some of them are longer, depending on how far they migrate. And we got the head we're going to throw on right here. And here's another little tiny beak. Kind of goes into the face. Bring that back. Join that all together. Come down under the face. Looks like he's got yellow undertail coverts as well. No wing bars. Here's the upper coverts. Here's the secondary coverts. Here's the primaries. Okay, again, these guys I think have a little bit bigger dark eye, it seems like. Or maybe it's a female of this one. Let's do a little darker eye on that. Okay. There's the bottom of the foot, right? Bottom of the foot, toe, toe, toe on the back. Here's the other one, toe, toe, toe. Now, one thing about this guy is that his legs are pink. So we're going to color those in pink. That'll help you identify the bird. There's pink legs, black legs. Pretty much an all yellow bird. Once again, we can go like this in the direction of the feathers. Yellow undertail coverts again. Quickly, quickly, quickly. Then we can get a little darker here. So far he looks pretty much like that other one, right? Just about like that other one. Except here's the big difference. Besides the pink legs, we have this little cap right here. That is telltale sign for a Wilson's warbler. So we saw the bird. They could even be together. We looked at them with our binoculars. When we looked with our binoculars on this one, we could see these red markings down the chest. This is a male. This is a male as well. Though a lot of the warblers are kind of an olive green, so they can be a little harder to tell. But so now on this yellow belly, we have, again, the red stripes. We have a pure yellow belly, but we have a black cap and no black cap on this one. Just a little bit of olive down the back. Pink legs, black legs. So there we have yellow warbler and Wilson's warbler. Again, if it sits there, which warblers don't usually, if it sits there long enough, you could color in the branch, or you could do it a little later. Fine little beak, more horizontal, more horizontal. This one's more horizontal than this one, it seems, but it might just be the way they're sitting. Okay, so we've just done those two real quick. We're going to do one more, and then we'll be done for now. We'll talk about a few other things as well. Just a few other posture type things. But here we're going to do a woodpecker. So again, on the posture, we can go in with our pencil and just do a great big tree. Here's a knot. Oh, a circle. There you go. So we have the tree. There's another knot. There's your tree. If you wanted to use your side pencil, you could shadow in this a little bit. Circle it around, shadow that in. Then we know where the edge of the tree is, right? So see how quick that tree came about. On this one, we have more of this angle. So he's leaning back, right? So we have his body, a little bit wider here. Some undertail coverts right in there. Here on this one, the wing is going straight down. Just the way he's holding it, straight down. Put his head on, head a little bit higher it seems. But look at the placement where it is here to where it is here. And then the beak. So this one, many of you might already know this. On this particular woodpecker, here's the width of the, or the length of the beak. We're going to do this, can you see? And then it's almost, or it's as long as this is wide. On the other little woodpecker that looks just like this, the little downy, this is a hairy if you hadn't guessed it yet. The downy woodpecker, the beak would only come to about here. It's only about half the width of the head from here to here. If you were to turn the beak over and flip it backwards, it'd only be to about here. So this is a hairy woodpecker. And when we get into these kind of birds, here we're going to do, here's his head width, right there, and his beak is going to come out to there, right there. Okay, dagger-like beak again. Comes in like this, down like that. Okay, it's a dark beak. Now the hairy woodpecker is called a hairy woodpecker because of this right here, these little nose hairs. These are little white nose hairs, so we're just going to kind of put in that spot. Again, off of the beak, here's the eye. And now we're going to get into, let's put his back of his neck on the front here. Okay, so quickly, primaries. And this secondaries, but we're going to leave this open because we have all those spots on there. So here we have your standard woodpecker. He has a white back, so let's draw that on. That's all white, so we could go white with an arrow back. And then this is going to kind of come across. We're going to get a whole bunch of markings in here, kind of like wing bars. Little spots, but we can just put them in quickly like this. That's going to give us a rough idea. It may not be exactly as many as are here. It looks like, here we get to use the eraser. I think I've made his wing too long, so it's only about two. We're going to take those bottom ones off. Each passerine, perching birds, have usually 10 primary feathers. But whether or not that matters to help you ID the bird at this point while we're just sketching, I don't know that we're not going to do that. So here we're going to count how many head stripes. This is the hardest part. What was white, what was black? Oh, I forgot. He flew away. So we're going to look here. Black, white, black, white, black. Okay? Black, white, black, and this can be some of the hardest stuff. This comes off the mustache. This comes off the malar. Okay, this one comes across like this. Kind of blends down on his shoulder like this. Okay. So we got black, white, black, white, black. And his telltale sign, this means he's a male. Right there. The downy has this, the hairy has this. Little red patch on the back of their head, and that tells us whether it's a male or female. The female wouldn't have that. So, cool thing about the woodpeckers is this feather on their tail feathers, their central tail feathers, are long and spiked. So you get to do this. This comes off these strong tail feathers, stronger than most. If you find one, you can flick it, and you can see how strong it is. But their tail feather is what helps them brace against the tree. And we're going down the length of the feather, which kind of gives us the gist of the veins in the tail. So this is all white, down like this. And here's an interesting thing. You need to pay attention to the toes as well. So we have a toe going this way, a toe going this way, a toe going this way, and a toe going this way. So the woodpeckers have usually 2 forward, 2 going back claws. Boop, couple claws. They can move these around a little bit, but most woodpeckers have 2 forward and 2 back. The owls are pretty much the same. They can move these around. But there's a black-backed woodpecker. See, this is white, so it's obviously not a black-backed woodpecker. Would only have 1 toe back here. It's a 3-toed woodpecker, so it only has 1 for some strange reason. I don't know why. So let's color that in, and then we're going to color this in the way the feathers would be going. So you know that it has stripes on the wings. Here's the main vein of the primaries. Okay, so these are obviously a bunch of little spots, so you could just draw lines across there like that. You don't have to count them. We're just trying to identify the bird. This isn't artwork that you're going to be doing that you're going to sell or that you're going to hang on your parents' fridge or on your kids' fridge. If you're older, you can hang it on your kids' fridge. This is just to get you into looking at the bird and IDing it. So we saw the bird. We noted that it was on the side of a tree. We looked at the bird with our binoculars. And we started to see all these little field marks, black, white, black, white, black. The stripes in the wings, or the patches in the wings, that it had a white back and a white belly and a black tail and the 4 toes. So we looked with our binoculars to get all of that information, and then we put it to paper. And then we started to remember, oh yeah, it had all these white little spots across the wings. You don't necessarily, if you don't have time, have to count how many bars there are. See, I'm a little short on the bars down here, but still I can go to a book and identify this bird because the beak is the proper length, the stripes on the head are proper, the spot is proper. All these markings are pretty much in the spots that they should be in. So that quickly is a hairy woodpecker. Oh, wrote it too far over. Okay, so hopefully that has helped you get some of the ideas on what it's like to sketch in the field. Some birds fly away really fast, some don't. But if you're just looking in the field, the one drawing that I showed you where I had all those birds in the water birds in the pond. So if you're looking at a hawk, it's going to have a bigger head. The body's usually going to be more straight up. Let's put a telephone line here, or so this might be a kestrel. Let's say this is a kestrel. Blocky little head, looks like a box on the telephone line. There's a little kestrel. So even if I did this, as simple as this, there's a little beak, here's an eye, and a teardrop below the eye. And there we have a kestrel, just like that. So most of the wrappers are going to be, even if it's on a telephone pole, it's going to be a big body, big round body, big round head, or an owl. That looks more like an owl. Let's do a great horned owl. Big yellow eyes. They have this little mustache here, stripes down the front, a fat wide tail like this, sitting on the telephone pole. See, I hardly even put the wings in, and you know that that's an owl. All right. So here's let's do a horizontal one. Here's a shorebird with legs this long. feet. Wing going up like that. And a little bit of a neck. There's the head. And let's say it has a beak that goes like this. So that could be an ibis if it was all dark. If the beak was like this, it would be an avocet. And you could get the colors. I'm sure you would be looking at the colors to get those. The longer leg. So almost the same body types here. But the beak going down could be an ibis. If it was a curlew, it'd be like this. On a female curlew, it'd be like that. And here's an ibis. So we're going to look at a lot of posture. Always look at the posture of the bird. Look at where it's sitting in the habitat that it's in. Remember, we talked about habitat. And lots of fun, quick little sketches that you can do. And having this book, I have over 20 of these books now. There's the Virginia rail that we looked at when I was with Caretig Roberts one day down at Silver Creek Preserve. That was so fun. He took a beautiful photo of it. But look at this fun history that I have. Look how simple this one is. That's a golden eagle right there, that black spot on this big cliff. So even that simple. I wrote some notes. All of this can be really fun. Here's where I did a wing study. Here's a golden eagle on an outcropping. And they don't have to be big sketches. You just need to get this kind of a funny looking owl. Great horned owl. Here's some fun birds. Here's one with it. Says Phoebe with a little cap. Here's the wren. Most of the wrens have their tails up like that. Warblers would have the tail out like that. So, and then this little curved bill. So look at that. Let's do that real fast. We're going to do a little wren real fast. I'm going to put this right here. So we have a little body that is this way. Little head right there. Tail like that. And lots of stripes. Beak curved like that. This one has a stripe through the eye. So there. So we've got a little bigger head to the body. And they have little short wings. So it kind of goes like to there. Primaries, secondaries, and the coverts up here. So just like that, we have a little wren. Little curved beak, eye stripe. So this one is a Buick's wren that I got to see. That was kind of cool. Must have been over in Boise when I saw those. And this upward tail with stripes. So there you go. Some pretty fun stuff. You can keep all of your notes for later. See how much you've improved each time. It's just so much fun to be able to draw the birds. Here's Christmas bird count of some gray partridge, stripes on the sides. It's just a lot of fun to go back through these. Again, like I said, I have 25 or so of these books now that are full. See, here's one where I did it wrong. This is more like how the hooded merganser would be, this big white circle back here. But I did it way too short, way too peaked. So I added that on and wrote no for this line. This was the sound it was making. It was great. Grr, grr. It was doing that. And then it has cinnamon sides. So anyway, you can do it wrong. When you do it wrong, it teaches you how to do it right. So there's no wrong way to do this. Just go to it, start looking at shapes, see the bird, look at it through the binoculars, get the field notes, and then commit it to paper. And hopefully this will all help you learn your birds a lot better. So thank you. I've really enjoyed this. I hope you have too. And we're all done. Bye-bye.